What's up, everybody? This is HazmatGamer9842 here. Today I will be showing you a quick and easy way to solve the Rubik's Cube. Now, this might not be the fastest, but it was, for me, one of the easier things to do. It can I solved with this method in under a minute, and yeah, with enough practice, yeah, it's fairly easy. Certain cases, for good cases, sometimes it may require some form of luck, but that's only to get a faster time. You can solve all of these cases, like in general. And just another thing to keep in mind, there are like one or two algorithms, but it's to the point where I can just show you them. Yeah, so let's get started. Um, so this is my Rubik's Cube. And what I'm going to do is just mix it up as I normally would, like when I don't have like a program mixing for me. And basically, there's a few things that you want to do before learning how to solve. For me, one thing that I notice that many people struggle with is how a certain move affects other things on the cube. So, before you begin, just familiarize yourself with like how like what each thing does that you do. So once you've done that, let's start with the first step, white cross. What you want to do is you want to find like an edge, like this edge right here would be an example. That's with white touching yellow and orange touching another color, or whatever this color here touching one of these. And you just want to move it so it matches up. So yellow is still on your right and white is on your left. What you do here is this would be considered a front two move. And basically that moves the front face, which is what is facing towards you, twice clockwise. And basically what that would do is move this white and orange while staying on this orange to this white. And you'd get something that looks like that. And you know it's done correctly when this edge piece, an edge has two colors, is matched up correctly with both centers. And you want to start doing that by doing it for all the way at once. Now if there comes like a case where it's like kind of something like this, what you would do is you'd move it, put it to your right side, you'd move it down like that, so that'd be an R prime. Then you would do a F move, which is a front move. So now that this is here, and it's now touching this. And if you already had something there, what you can do is you could do this. So you move it out of the way from this for when you move that back. So if you already had this one solved, that wouldn't hurt it. And you could just put that in like normally. And you might also get something similar where it's mismatched like this. So if you do that, you'd have the same case. And if to save a little bit more time, you can do this thing where it's like this on the bottom. White is facing the color that this would normally connect to, like this. Like it's kind of flopped. What you could do is you could move it to either one of these sides, set it so it's connecting to this, move it up, and fix whatever you broke while moving it up, like this. Okay, and so we kind of have a similar case here. What we would do here is we just bring it down or to the side to your right with a U prime. So now this is in line here. You could bring that down and then you can move that back. So that's all fixed, but that's not there anymore. You would then turn that around and there you go. From what you do here is you do the white corners, and there is white right here, and you want that to go here. So what you would do here is there's white right here. You want to go here, and you want to make sure it matches this. first make sure that it matches. That's the first thing you do. Then you know it goes there. You make sure it's here. You bring this down, and then you put this right here. You insert it, and then you bring it up. If you do it correctly, it won't hurt any of the other of the cross. If not, well, you should fix your cross then. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here. And sometimes you could do, like, let's say, you could kind of have a similar situation with the other side, where you have to insert it like that. Or you can have a situation where it's in here like this, and what you would do is like you just insert whatever's here, even if it doesn't match or whatever's here. Either or, you don't really have to do it, and that would take it out for you. In this case, this is actually a good example, because then I can show you what to do in this case if the white is on the bottom yellow. What you do is you would move either one of these two. So I'm going to move this one, and then move an R2 so it's not in this top face anymore. And now you would just solve it like you normally would for this case, which would do that. I'll do that again slower. Okay. And this would just be a normal insert. And that is good. You have your first layer solved. Now we're going to do our center layer, which if you've already done other beginner CFOP, I'd also like some form of beginner method already, like especially the one that takes like 2 minutes if done certain ways. You can, like the next step that I'd recommend when moving on is to learn F2O, but I don't recommend just that yet if you're new. What I would recommend is still doing layer by layer. So next step, we're going to insert this area into right here. So what we would do is we match it up with the face that's meant to go on, and you see that it's supposed to go also match with this face with that. What we do is you move it opposite of that, and then you bring this, so this would be R, U prime, R prime, U prime. You move it so the other face is facing you, and then you do L prime, U, L. And there you have it. You basically took the old one out and put the new one in, essentially. Now, what I want to do here is, so now I'm going to demonstrate, I was going to demonstrate how you're supposed, perfect. So match this up with this, as you normally should, but you realize it goes here. So here's what you do in this case. You move it to the side opposite, as you normally would, and instead of doing the algorithm on this side, you do the algorithm on this side. Basically, it's a mirror image, almost. So you do L prime, U, L, switch to face, U, R, U prime, R prime, and that inserts that. And basically with those two algorithms, you can finish the rest of this layer, and I'll just do it again for another example. Okay, so what you can do here is there's a certain number of cases for this step. So you can have 3 cases. I'm going to start with one and move to the next. And basically, in each amount of cases, you do the same algorithm 1 to 2 more times, maybe 3 more times. So in this dot phase, what you would do is you do a front, because front moves clockwise. So you move that out. You do a R. Move this. So that's basically moving this up. And then you do U. Yeah, so you move that there. You do an R prime, which brings this back down. And you pull this in to finish it. So, and you basically insert that. And you get this case from there. And you can also have this case. It's like, can be, I forgot what this is called, triangle, L, certain things, but we're basically focusing on the edge and center, and you get two adjacent edges that are on the yellow face. And this is good, it's the next step. And you do that same algorithm that I just told you, having the two in this position. Ignore the yellows for now, the edges for, the corners for now. Just focus on these edges, and do that same algorithm. Okay, good. You have obtained line. That's perfect. So, in this case, you do that same algorithm, and then you have cross, and that's the goal. So, basically, you can end up, after solving the first two layers, with either dot, I'm going to call this L, it's not considered L, but that's what I think it's called, L, line, or cross. Cross is like the best in my opinion because you don't need to do an algorithm for cross, and that's good. The next thing you would do, and if you've done a little bit of solving before, you might know this algorithm. It's soon and anti-soon. And basically, it's a very simple algorithm that allows you to move three edges. Basically, it moves these three edges, and it soon moves it clockwise. Wait, no, soon moves it counterclockwise. So this would move here, this would move here, and this would move here. So I don't have like drawing on this cube, but basically, if I could describe it, there would be an arrow here, an arrow facing that way, and an arrow facing that way. And anti-soon is the exact opposite. So if what you would do for soon is R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And I haven't solved the cube yet, but you may notice that these are in a different position, going in that counterclockwise way. And basically, before you do that algorithm, you just want to make sure you have one lined up, so these work out. And we just do that again. Perfect. And now this is all lined up. And for those who are just slightly a little bit more advanced and wants to go do this step faster, you can also do the anti-soon, which is right up to R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And basically it moves this one here, and it basically moves these in a clockwise pattern. So if you do that one more time, two more times, it'll get us back to where we want to be, like that. So perfect. Now that we have these lined up, we're doing really good. There might be a case where like these two are swapped, and in that case, if you just do soon like enough times, maybe like switching this up a bit, it might fix it. Like, let's see. Oh wow. Let's see if I could get that case. So I can't get that case, but sometimes it happens. So if you just mess around with those two algorithms that I showed you, you should be able to figure it out. But I've definitely had that problem before. And so what you want to do now, we're going to permute the corners to the right place with, I really don't know what this algorithm is called. It's really popular on shape mod 3x3s, which is like, if you ever see a windmill cube, it's really helpful. So basically you get this so right here. So you have one that's in the correct spot. You have that on your right. And what you would do is this algorithm. O prime, U, R, U prime, L, U, R prime. I think that's right. I might have. Yeah, that was right. And you might need to do that a couple of times to get it in position. And the inverse of that, like the inverse of soon is anti-soon. The inverse of that would just be the opposite thing. And basically you want to make sure the one that you're keeping still is on your left, and you do basically the same thing just on the other side, and that messes it up. So I just fixed that, and that's good. And this is another stage where the luck also comes really handy in. And so this is a hard one. So what you do here is basically this move. And there's only like a few things you need to do for this move, and you repeat it like a bunch until it works. U prime, R, U, R prime. And you just repeat that. So you see you have that, you move down. One more time. And you might need to move this around like that, but that is how you solve a Rubik's Cube in about 17 minutes. So the parts that you really, hopefully, are really lucky in is this top layer. This is the most challenging part. And from here, I would recommend watching a tutorial on how to do 2-look or F2L if you want to improve your times even more. I used to do this, and I got like, I think, I was consistently getting sub 1 minutes. But to get something like average sub 45, 2-look and F2O will be really good. And with enough practice, you'll start getting lots of sub 30s with F2O. Like, I got my best time at like 18.1 seconds with only 2-look and F2O, and that can really help. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. And yeah, thank you for watching.